Okay, I'm going to introduce now Sam Ring David from the Sean Ring Justice and Change campaign.
I want to thank the United Campaign Against Police Violence and everybody that has come out in solidarity. We're here because we care about people. Yeah, we're here because we believe in justice and we don't want to live in a society that kills people and get away with it. Yeah, we're going to stand up and we're going to speak truth no matter what it takes. So on the 21st of August 2008, my brother Sean Ring was arrested and restrained by 4 Brixton police officers. It's concerning to us how he actually got into the police van because there are many witnesses that saw that. We're actually still calling for witnesses. We don't know why some witnesses are frightened to come forward. The IPCC also has said that they're not pursuing any more witnesses. We find that ludicrous and ridiculous, okay, because we still need witnesses who saw, because there's been about 14 identified who saw Sean arrested and restrained, and God knows what else. So how did he get into the police van? Yeah? It's very concerning, the details of that. I'm kind of a little bit restricted as to what I can say. But he got into the police van somehow, and he seemed to be in a very distressed state. By the time he got to the Brixton police station, he was in and out of consciousness. So what the heck happened in that police van? That's what I would like to know. And I would like the IPCC to conduct a proper investigation of finding that out. But in fact, it took them 7 months to interview these police officers. Everybody was outraged that it took them, a week to interview them in the Ian Tomlinson case, but it took them 7 months. And I don't care what the IPCC says, there's no justification for that. That is ridiculous. Okay? So they're meant to be conducting an independent investigation, but so far we've experienced cover-up of vital CCTV evidence inside the police station. Okay? Evidence that would show clearly what the police were doing when my brother was dying at their feet. He didn't even make it into the police station. There's been some reports that he was in a cell. He didn't even make it into the police station. He got as far as the police yard on the floor. Okay? So, and then on that night when they told us he had died, they didn't even want us to identify him. How can they do a post-mortem on somebody that hasn't been formally identified? It took us hours and hours and hours to tell them, get us into that mortuary or else, right? But the post-mortem had already been done with many police officers standing there. We couldn't even get a representation into that post-mortem, right? So you decide for yourself what possibly could have happened. Does that give us confidence in the IPCC investigation? Does it? Why do you think we're standing here? Because they've done a good job of investigating. If they were doing a good job, we'd be patting them on the back, giving them champagne. But we want them out, okay? Because we're disgusted with their work. At the very least, it is so incompetent that even us as lay people could do a better job. At the very least, it's incompetent. But what we're increasingly believing now, that they are in cahoots with the police and are actually agents of the police. Their literature says this. It says we are there to restore the public's confidence back into the police. And how they do that is they cover up the deaths in custody. Alright? And they expect us to have confidence in the organisation, in the investigation. It's absolute rubbish. Okay, so we're marching in solidarity with all of you. Right, we put down any of our differences and we join together until we get full justice. So basically, when we eventually got into the mortuary, right, we originally asked them, were there any injuries on him? Right? Basically, they're telling us no, not really. There was a scratch on his cheek. But when we in fact got through to the bolted locked glass that they had him behind, we found wounds on his head. Wounds on his head.
Opposite side where we...
Right? Right, on the opposite side of the glass. So if we didn't go in there and demand for them to unbolt it, and we had to squeeze around to get around my brother who was dead. And we had to go around the other side and see wounds on his head that they failed to tell us about. And they want us to have confidence in them. That was the first 24 hours. Since then, it's is an inquest. We're not even going to get a chance to robustly cross-examine those police officers in court.
That's right.
We get an inquest with a coroner.
That's right.
We've got to pray and lobby for a decent coroner, yeah, with a human heart beating, and a jury, yeah, like us, that can tell when police are lying, and they're not afraid to stand up and give unlawful killing verdicts when they can see that there's something seriously gone wrong here. My brother had no heart condition. He was fit and healthy more than most of us here.
That's right.
He was so fit and healthy. All he had was a mental illness. A mental illness does not kill you, right? No alcohol, no drugs found in his system. You tell me how he comes to die less than an hour after coming in contact with police. And the RPCC want to go on as if the police didn't do nothing to him.
Shame.
We don't believe it. That is why we are here. And that's why we're going to continue to speak truth. We're not afraid of them, because we are not criminals. Neither was my brother. Yeah, he was a beautiful, beautiful guy. And right now, if this happened to any of us, he would be standing here, marching and speaking of the truth. He was a beautiful guy, ambitious, and his life has been cut short for no good reason. So we remember him, my beautiful brother, and all deaths in custody. Ian Tomlinson, Brian Douglas, Roger Sylvester, Abraham Say, Ricky Bishop, to name but a few. We will not rest until we get justice to their lives.
Thanks very much. Thank you, Sam. We have one more speaker before our very special ending. Our trade union support as a campaign has been very important to us. The London region of the RMT not have only affiliated, but they've also generously provided the stewarding jackets, as people may have noticed today. But I want to introduce now very briefly Andy Lawson from the PCS, who proposed the motion at the PCS National Conference that affiliated the National Union to the campaign last week. Andy.